Hello and welcome to ETEnergyWorld. I am Sudhir and today we are interviewing the man behind India's first solar ferry, Sandith Thandassery, founder and CEO of NavAlt. So Sandith, can you tell us more about the idea behind the company called NavAlt and the entire idea of solar ferry? How did it occur to you and how you have developed the entire idea?
It all started probably around 2009 when we started experimenting on solar boats, small boats, where we are trying to prove that solar boats can be as fast as conventional boat.
Meaning diesel boats, right?
Diesel, petrol boats.
Okay.
So at that time, we made a small boat, 10-passenger boat, which won the Limca Book of Records for the fastest solar boat in India. But then we realized that solar boats as a pleasure application is not solving any big problems. So we done subsequently some experiments in fishing sector also. But the greatest opportunity we felt was in the passenger ferry market, where the application of renewable energy is the best. Boats which run 10 to 12 hours every day and 365 days in a year, that is when the application of renewable energy is the best. Okay. Meaning the asset utilization should be high. So ferry was a way to go for us, a natural extension on the various experiments we did in many years. And then we were trying to find a gap in certain technology which we had in terms of certain electronics, lithium batteries, etc. So we met each other, that is the French, two of the founders, we met each other and decided to join hand to come up with this ferry concept and ferry boats. At the similar time is when the Kerala government decided, I would say at slightly ahead of its time or as a leadership position in for the rest of India, to decide to go for a solar ferry.
But how did the idea of the solar ferry occur to you?
I would never attribute anything to being something very on the spot or spontaneous. It's a gradual evolution. So we were always looking for an application of renewable into the space which I know of, which I'm a naval architect, so can design and build boats, ships, etc. So renewable application in that, I find, even today I find that this is one area where in any of the various possibilities, this is one area where it can really be 100% solar and very, very cost effective. Both are very essential.
Okay.
You can do renewable in many things, but it may not be cost effective.
Can you take us through your own personal journey of developing from I'm told you have been a researcher, from being a researcher to how you have how you have become the man who takes an idea forward?
Started in Gujarat, in Alcock, Ashton, Gujarat, small state-owned shipyard in the design.
Working as an engineer.
An engineer, designing the boats and ships, what was being built there.
Okay.
Then I joined a company based out of Mumbai, OMCI, which is currently no longer existing. But then we built big ships in Korea for our US principals. So some of the largest ships I have been involved in, like a 3 lakh tonner vessel, etc. So in various shipyards in Korea. So the best shipbuilding practices and the most complex vessels I have gone through or experienced and try to imbibe and understand a lot of technical knowledge and etc. Then at that time I felt with my eventual goal of starting some boatyard or a company on my own, and preferably in my home state and closer to my hometown.
Okay.
So I felt the gap or the lack of my knowledge was in management, systems, finance, etc., which I felt at that time probably an MBA was a natural solution for that.
Okay. Okay.
So I did it from INSEAD in France and then came back to India immediately and started this venture of
So you had a technical background to understand the engineering aspects of design.
Yeah, design and construction of ships.
Of ships, and then you went on to acquire management abilities also. Yes. And then you worked on the idea.
I believe that when you see something successful, there will be a lot of failures behind it. There will be a lot of learning lessons. So people tend to forget that the probability of success is very low. Like when you see a successful book, there will be hundreds which are not succeeded. So similarly, we have had our lessons in terms of failures.
Despite the failures you're talking about, what gave you the confidence that the idea will someday click? Is it only about looking at the energy aspect of marine transport? Is it just about that, or is it something else also?
See, to do what is already being done is easy part. Like can still do the conventional kind of boats, you can still continue building the kind of boats which are already there. That's the easy path. You get more motivation as an engineer or a naval architect to do something different, something more than what is already existing. That is where you try to seek more challenging problems.
So can you give us some basic idea of what exactly a solar ferry is all about? How does it operate? How big is the market, India and globally also? Do we have globally some experience of solar ferries working in any part of the world?
The boats are there in India in many places, across the world many places. But the ferries commercially, the only solar ferries which works commercially are in Europe, very specifically in France. There are about 15 of them, which is done mostly by one of the co-founders in our company.
Okay.
So, but those ferries are mostly electric, partly solar. That's primarily because of the geography. In France, you get less sun. In Europe, so it's 30% solar and 70% from the grid, electric from the state electricity board, for example. Whereas in our case, it's primary solar and less from the grid.
We will use more of solar energy.
More of.
But what about a very basic question? What about days when the sun is not there?
Okay, so there is always a battery backup. So you have a option of, or you have facility to charge from the grid. So the moment you start your day, your battery bank is full. You are already charged in the night. Just like you charge your mobile, you plug and charge your normal electricity connection. Right? Just plug and charge overnight, because ferries don't operate in the night. So you plug and charge in the night, morning your battery is full. If it's a very sunny day, you can have your ferries designed so that you don't use a battery at all. Or you use it at sort of a buffering, maybe the clouds come or something, then you use battery. Or if it's a very, very cloudy day, then you use more batteries. And if you want to stretch your operation to later in the evening, so by 5 or 6 your sun energy is very low. Then you want to run the ferry to 8, 9, you use a battery. So
in Kerala, for example, where you're starting, out of 365 days in a year, how many days do you think are the good sunny days where you would be dependent on minimum battery backup? So
this is as a pilot project, what they thought is they designed the boat for most of the days, which is closer to 10 months or almost 10.5 months of the year. So you can over design the boat to cater to all the 12 months. So they just chose this way. But in the next project or in the future project, if they say design the boat for all the days, the only thing we have to do is increase the battery bank. The boat is ready to be operated in any condition, any severe monsoon days or anything. It's just a question that today, since they've chosen to have a battery bank which is, in this case, is a 50 kilowatt hour, if I say the size, it is designed for an average sunny day. In cloudy days, what they choose to do is in the break time during the lunch, they also have to plug and charge. Normally, they need not, but in such cloudy days, they charge even in the break time, in the lunch break. Right?
What is the cost comparison of the battery backup versus the solar use? More is your battery backup use. Is it that your cost will go up? Cost of running the boat itself.
So the most effective way is to get the energy from the sun in terms of the cost of energy. So in our case, it's 70% is from the sun, and 30% from the grid. Grid electricity is still very, very cheap.
Right? So running the boat on solar is going to be costlier as compared to running it on completely on
cheapest
battery.
is sun. Cheapest is sun, as much as you can. So the most effective design is to design the boat such that it can be 100% solar if it is possible.
And 100% solar will be cheapest.
It will be the cheapest. So it is always cheaper to increase a panel than increase a battery. But you still need to keep minimum battery, because you may be operating at times when the sun has not yet come. Like say you start early in the morning, or you want to operate from. So in this boat operates anyway till 7. So the last 1 hour there is no sun. How much ever big you make the panel.
To that extent, your cost of running the boat will go up, right?
So so still, if you compare with the diesel ferry, I mean the most important comparison is compared with the diesel ferry. A conventional diesel boat built to similar kind of specification in terms of safety, standards, reliability, classification, society approval, etc., which is a way to go forward anyway in the future. So that is about 1.5 crore conventional diesel ferry of the same passenger capacity. Our ferry is closer to 2.4, 2.5 crore.
This is the cost of
solar ferry.
manufacturing a solar ferry,
Yeah,
right?
the customer cost
Okay.
to the customer. I just told both cost to the customer.
Okay.
So there is a difference of about 90 lakhs to 1 crore.
Okay.
The operating cost of a diesel ferry is close to 30 lakhs at today's fuel price, which I believe is a rock bottom.
Okay.
Fuel price will only go upward.
Okay.
So that 30 lakhs operating cost versus the grid charge which I mentioned is
Okay.
only cost of our solar ferry, which is closer to 1.4 lakhs.
And that is 30 lakh.
That is 30 lakhs.
30 lakh over what period of time?
It's 1 year cost.
1 year cost.
1 year.
Okay.
So there is a 29 odd lakh difference in cost. So in 3 years, the difference in cost is gone.
Okay.
And the remaining 17 years, which the boat is designed for 20 years, so the remaining 17 years, you save at an increasing 30 lakhs, 32 lakhs, 33 lakhs, depending on the fuel price increase. So you save enough money at the end of its life cycle to buy 3 more solar boats.
Okay. Okay.
So
Yeah.
economics, that is why I said 2 things.
In
are
the long run,
essential.
the economics works in favor of this.
Yeah.
Right?
Not
That's
in
what
3 years. I mean, you don't even
Okay.
have to take very long perspective. Just 3 year time.
What are some of the ways in which people generally respond to, when you talk to them about the idea of a solar ferry? For example, government departments, when you go to them and propose the idea of the solar ferry, how do they respond to it?
See, the first response to everyone is, can the boat run by sun?
Okay.
So typically, that is the biggest difficulty we have found in telling them, yes, it can. So it was a
Convincing
challenge.
people that yes, solar power can be good enough to run a
Yes,
boat.
yes. We have made the boat very light by choosing materials which are lighter.
For example.
For example, the body is fiber, glass fiber, the underwater body, and till the deck is glass fiber compared to steel or wood in conventional.
Okay.
Top side is all aluminium, which is very light again. So we consciously choose to make the boat lighter. Our boat is about 17 ton compared to around 30 tons of.
From a safety point of view, fiber is better placed
Fiber
than.
is stronger than steel.
Okay.
For strength weight ratio is much higher than steel.
Okay.
So effectively fiber becomes half the weight almost for the same strength. So strength is not compromised, which is a very reputed body.
Cost-wise, how much more costly is fiber as compared to wood or steel?
It could be some 20-25% more, not
more than
major
that. Okay.
expense. And
Okay.
because wood is very expensive nowadays,
Okay.
wood because
Yeah.
a lot more labor is required. Steel is cheap, but it's tremendously heavy, so
Okay.
it doesn't
Okay.
make sense
Yeah.
for when you want to do something which is very energy efficient.
Okay. Okay.
So
Sandith, I'm sure you would have done at your own level a lot of analysis of the kind of the size that ferry market has globally and in India also. Can you give us some basics of that?
So I'll start with the market which we are working on. Let's say Kerala. Kerala itself currently has about 100-150 ferries running.
Commercial ferries, right?
Commercial ferries,
Okay.
of which around 100 is owned by the government itself.
Okay. Yeah.
Kerala is a very developed water transport system in that sense. There are a lot of water bodies, etc. Immediate plans, like for example, Cochin as a commercial capital of Kerala has a plan for water transport, Kochi Metro, and they make Aqua Metro.
Okay.
They plan to build 70 boats now in the next 2-3 years. They want to build.
So the Kerala government requires 70 boats over the next 2-3 years.
Just the Cochin city. So
And-
I'm looking at
okay.
250 boats for Kerala, and Kerala is a very, very small state.
How many of those 250 boats market do you think you'll be able to capture?
So today,
Yeah.
after we have established that solar ferries work,
Yeah.
this is what our biggest challenge was, to prove that it works.
Okay.
Once we have proved, there is no reason why anyone should build diesel ferry. Right?
Okay.
It makes economic sense too, as I told you, like by simple financial restructuring itself, we will pay less money in the initial cost and we will pay less money in the operating cost. So there is no reason why anyone should build diesel ferry. I am not even factoring the cost of pollution. I didn't say the amount of money we save indirectly because we don't pollute.
By cutting down on all that
So there
pollution
is-
caused by diesel.
Yeah. So this diesel costs lot of air, water, noise pollution, smell of diesel, vibration. These are passenger problems. Our boat is very spacious, very silent, no smell of diesel, no pollution. So there is some cost, actually there is a cost of externalities, as what you say in a diesel boat, but that's not factored at all. If you add that also, why we should build diesel ferry?
You said the overall cost of running a solar ferry in a year would come down to something around, let's say, 1.5 lakh,
Yes.
right, in a year. Can you, give me a, back of the envelope calculation of how you would have arrived at a number?
So the cost is that electric charging, the battery cost of electricity charging. So you need to charge about 40 units in a day. 40
Okay.
units.
Okay. If the boat is running for 7-8 hours, really?
What you charge in the night
Okay.
is the battery bank.
Okay.
So you are 10% at the end of your journey, you charge to full, which
Okay.
is 50. So 40 units you charge. 40 units, today's cost, I'm not saying about HT rate or anything, I'm taking the higher commercial rate, 10 rupees. Home is 5 rupees in
Okay.
Kerala. You get, if you have HT and all, is also 5 rupees, but I'm taking 10.
10 rupees per unit.
Yes. So 400 rupees per day.
Okay.
Multiply by 350 days. It's 1.4 lakhs.
Okay.
That's the operating cost.
And you would not even be running it for all the 365 days, right?
You may 350. We don't see the major other benefit of solar or electric ferry is that there is nothing called servicing.
Okay. Why?
You don't do. There are no filters to change. There are no oil to change. So
Okay.
it's not an engine. So your engine needs servicing every 10,000 hour operation, etc. Like your car, you give for servicing every 10,000 kilometers.
Okay.
So
okay.
you do that. You don't do that in an electric system. So the only maintenance in that side is only the grid charging. So there is no regular overhauling. So I'm still saying 350 days operation, because you may want to do some cleanup, etc. So
what are the components then of the solar ferry? You have solar panels.
So there is a solar
and
panel from which the energy from the sun is converted to electric.
Okay.
So this goes to through an electric charge controller and system. It goes to the battery, which is a lithium battery bank.
Okay.
Plus you have another battery bank for the auxiliaries, which means the lights, the fans, the
Okay.
controls, etc. That's a separate battery bank. So these two battery banks, it is charged.
How big is the contract from the Kerala government?
So this is a 2 crore project.
2 crore project.
So practically we are doing at cost, or maybe even we are slightly subsidizing it.
Okay.
But we wanted to get an opportunity to demonstrate, yeah, this is possible.
So in 2 crore, you will supply how many boats?
This is the first boat. One boat is.
One boat.
Yeah.
Okay. And this will be manufactured where?
It's already done in our yard, yes.
In our yard. Okay.
Yes.
Where is that?
It's in Arur.
Okay.
And yeah.
So can you tell us something more about your manufacturing facility? I mean, I'm sure you would have plans to expand it.
So yeah, see, the easiest part in this whole thing is manufacturing. So the way I see as scaling up, which I think it is, like if you have to do Kochi Metro project, for example, 70 boats, you need to find lot more partners.
Okay. Yeah.
So we need to form partnership with lot of fiber boat manufacturing people. And there are a lot of skills that are available. So our idea is to do a distributed manufacturing, right? And these things can't be transported. Boats cannot be transported on road. Like
Okay.
suppose they say Varanasi, you put the boat, like
Yeah.
Prime Minister Modi, I'm sure he has already inaugurated some e-boats in Varanasi, and I'm sure if he knows about this project, clearly they will be replicated in Varanasi.
Okay.
So if they say, okay, let's build boats in Varanasi, we can't transport the boat on road,
Yeah.
and it's a very circuitous road to reach
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
Hooghly and all. So the easier path is you make prefabrication maybe in our central place,
And then take
but
it
then
there
we
and
have a manufacturing or integration facility in Varanasi. Because
Okay.
finally, any support you need to be provided to lot boats there, then you need somebody who is able to do.
What is the size of the manufacturing facility? I'm sure you would have some vision of the size of the facility. Can you share that with us?
When I mentioned the distributed manufacturing, I believe that if I start thinking of doing everything my own,
Yeah.
I am limiting the market.
Okay.
So today I am saying if I have to build the whole ferry needs of India, which I think is closer to 10,000 ferries.
That's the demand.
Yeah, that is the
in
size
India
of market
for-
of passenger ferries in India.
Okay.
So
So you're
250
saying annually.
So the replacement
okay.
is like 10% of it. So you
Okay.
at least have some 1,000 ferries built every year.
Every year.
So in that scenario, if I envision something which I have to do everything myself, it is not logical, and I don't think I can scale up to that level. So there are certain critical things which I will have to do, which is design, control elements. The control systems, electronics, power system, etc., which is very, very scalable. If you want to do 100,000, it's very easy to do. But the boat manufacturing, the fiber work, aluminum, is a time-consuming process.
Okay,
It takes
yeah.
a 3 to 6 months process.
Okay.
So that has to be done by multiple people.
And you
We just
want
have
to
to-
get into partnerships,
We
and
have
you are
to
looking for that.
partnership. We find vendors who can do it. And as it said, those things are not technologically very high. So we can have a lot of people in India who can do that.
How much money you would have invested in this idea so far, broadly speaking,
About 50 lakhs in R&D, yeah.
in R&D?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and by when do you think you will have a comfortable level of return getting generated?
Most of the project will be, from now on, will be self-sustaining, plus it should generate profits for the company. See, end of the day, profits has to be made, then only research can be done, it has
Yeah.
to self-sustain.
Yeah.
So that I believe from the next project onwards, the numbers I talked about cost comparison and all, is all with a comfortable profit margin which we have to sustain the development.
Okay.
Even without scalability, overall if you see worldwide, two things price is going down. One is clearly the panel.
Yeah.
The panel efficiencies are going up, which means the price per kilowatt is going down, plus lot more technologies are coming, panel is going up. Second thing is battery. Battery is also price is going down.
Finally, Sandith, can you tell us, about the kind of incentives that you, or some kind of help that you would have, that you think you would require from the government side, or have you already started discussions with the government? I'm talking about the center and.
Yeah, frankly, we don't need any incentives per se,
Okay.
because when I tell that there is an economic benefit, means we don't need subsidy to make it work.
Okay.
Right? So it's
Yeah.
pure, it works pure economics.
Okay.
But one thing I need is something which I feel is to treat electric vehicles on water, which is the boats, on par with electric vehicles on road.
Okay.
Many times policy etc. are drafted with the electric cars in mind,
Okay.
right? Whether
Okay.
in terms of excise duty, Maharashtra government has given VAT exemption for electric car, but nobody talks about electric boats per se.
Fine, Sandith. On that note, and with the hope for that shift in mindset we are talking about, which is more geared towards solar energy use in ferry market, and with all the support from the government that you were expecting, I think it was a very nice discussion. Thank you for your time.